Kia ora everyone, and welcome to the ACE RMO 2026 Rotorua Hospital webinar. My name is Sam and I am the ACE RMO consultant. Today we are going to start off with an opening karakia, and then I will give everyone a brief outline of today's webinar.
E te matua I te rangi. Ka mihi mātou ki a koe. Mō tō matua hui e tēnei rā. Arahina o mātou whakaro, o mātou kupu, me a mātou mahi. Kia whakaroriatia ai koe. Kia pai ai hoki a mātou mahi mō te katua. E te ingoa o heho karaiti. Āmene.
Amen. Thank you. And thank you for our attendees for taking the time to join today's webinar. It really is great to have you here. So before we move into our panelist introductions, I just wanted to give you a brief outline of what you can look forward to this afternoon. So I will start off by sharing a video introduction to the Lakes region and the Rotorua Hospital. And then our panelists will take you through a presentation covering off some really key information about their district and the opportunities that are available. You will also be able to hear directly from district representatives who and our RMOs will be able to give you and share with you their experiences working at the hospital and what you can expect on a day-to-day. Towards the end of the session, you will be able to or have the opportunity to ask questions, and then we'll close off with a closing karakia. So just a reminder to our attendees, all questions can be posted in the Q&A box above your screen. You can post these questions throughout the webinar, but just to note that we will answer those towards the end of the session. Again, this is really a great opportunity for you to ask your questions, but also have them answered on the spot. So don't hesitate and don't hold back. You can post those questions in that Q&A box throughout the webinar.
So I'm Lucian, I'm one of the PGY1s this year.
Kia ora, my name's Eric, I'm one of the PGY2s.
Kia ora koutou, ko Kaiku Tokawingoa. I'm one of the ED doctors and one of the pre-vocational supervisors here in Rotorua.
Kia ora koutou, my name is Chancelie Fanikak and I'm the RMO unit manager at Lakes.
Kia ora, I'm Leah and I am the admin to the pre-vocational supervisors as well as the student coordinator for the University of Auckland here at Te Whatuora Lakes.
I just wanted to personally say thank you for being here this evening. I know that time and capacity is really precious, and we really do value having you here and being able to share this information with our attendees. So thank you so much.
My name is Holly Wilson. I'm a PGY1 at Rotorua Hospital. Currently I'm on the medical unit and previously finished my orthopaedic run. I chose to work at Rotorua Hospital because I heard that it has been really well supported, as well as it's got lots of really great outdoor activities such as the redwoods, multiple lakes, and we've got a really good work-life balance here. We've also got a great medical management unit who abide by the 10-4 roster, which is also really good. And I've really enjoyed my first few months working here at Lakes DHB. I plan on working here next year as well.
Hello, I'm Corey, PGY2 at Rotorua Hospital, currently working in the orthopaedic unit. I chose to come to Lakes DHB as a PGY1 because it's got a great reputation for teaching and work-life balance. The main benefits of working here, you've got the lovely outdoor stuff to do, so if you're a keen mountain biker or if you want to go out to the lakes and that sort of thing. Workload's pretty reasonable here, so most days you start from just around 8 and you're normally able to get away from work by 4. You only have to work 1 in 4 weekends, give or take, and over those times you're quite well supported by senior staff.
Hey, my name's Tim. I'm one of the medical registrars here in Rotorua Hospital. I'm in my 3rd year now. I guess a little bit biased because I'm from Rotorua, grew up here and went to school here. But coming back to this hospital was easily the best medical decision I've ever made. The staff here are all wonderful. It's a great place to learn. Not too big that you get lost in the shuffle, but not small enough that you don't get exposure to medical things. So I mean, if you choose to come to Rotorua, it's definitely one of the best things you'll do. Everyone here is great. We've got the Redwoods, the hospital here has heaps of social sport teams, touch, basketball, netball.
Hi, I'm Sneha. I'm currently a PGY too. I chose to come to Rotorua in my first year of working because I really wanted to come to a smaller centre, and I heard that it was really friendly, and it's been an amazing experience so far. All the bosses are really friendly, and it's a great work-life balance, so I recommend it. Advice for applying to Lakes DHB or Rotorua Hospital. So I think it's probably a good idea if you come in and see our medical management unit personally.
Definitely pop on through some stages during the year and show your face around. It's a very friendly community and they want to make sure that each applicant would fit in here, so that's the main thing.
Previously in the past it's been quite popular among the TIs to apply here, but we've also making space for our Otago grads as well as people from other hospitals.
Come join, lots of fun, it'll be sweet.
So that's it, I think.
Thanks, Sam. So like I said, I'm Kate, one of the pre-vocational supervisors. I'm just going to take you through a few slides. You can see there's a bit of overlap between what I'm saying and what they said on the video and probably what these guys are going to say as well. I don't want to take up too much time because I think it's important you hear the RMO perspective and that comes through strongly. I also do really want to encourage you to ask some questions at the end of this webinar, and also if you think of things afterwards, just touch base and you can ask those questions. We're more than happy to help. They said in the video as well that we appreciate visits, and we do like people who are interested in working here either coming to visit in person or organising a meeting with one of the pre-vocational supervisors, and we can take you through more about the hospital, more in detail, and answer any further questions that you have. But it's quite a nice size, small hospital, and we do appreciate that face-to-face and actually putting a face to a name when we're looking through lots of CVs. It is quite a popular place for people to apply to, and we sort of like to have that connection with people and really understand why you want to come and work in our region. So this slide's really already been touched on by the RMOs in that previous video, but most people working here in this hospital work here because they want to live here and work here. They really enjoy the natural surrounds. It's world famous for its mountain biking, running, walking. Got 15 lakes in the region, and one of the world's best sort of whitewater kayaking rivers, rafting rivers, but not too far from the beach, close enough to have a beach afternoon or go skiing for the day as well when there's snow. And for those who like a bit more intrepid journeys, there is quite a few forest parks and national parks around here as well for tramping adventures and pack rafting and things like that. Just a few photos. I forgot to mention hot pools as well. So geothermal area makes it a lovely place to be in winter as well, because you can go to the hot pools in the evening. There's natural hot pools along the lakes. There's commercial hot pools in town, and it's one of our thriving nightlife activities is meeting at the hot pools. Like I said, we're a size hospital where you do get to know everyone across lots of different disciplines, and I think we have a reasonably flat hierarchy compared to some other hospitals. As a junior member of staff, you do work quite closely with your consultants and registrars. Not all teams have registrars, so sometimes you're working more directly with the consultants, and that means there's a lot of hands-on learning, a lot of bedside learning. We also have structured educational programs. We can go into more detail about that. Essentially, during lunchtime sessions, several days a week, there's sort of surgical-based or medical-based teaching, as well as pre-vocational meetings and sort of pastoral care sessions. We have a diverse multicultural population, and sort of 40 to 50% of our patients are Māori, and so there's a strong focus on that. We have a very strong kaupapa Māori team within the hospital. We have daily karakia and waiata, and so we're reasonably interested in junior doctors who are passionate about equity and want to come and work in a population where there is a high Māori population. The hospital itself, mostly modern facilities, I'd say. If we're going to be honest, there's a few areas that are, needing upgrades. But Rotorua is a small town, 75,000 people. It doesn't take long to get anywhere. I think if it's a 7 to 10 minute drive, that seems like it's on the other side of town. But most people live a very short drive away or bike ride to work. Some people walk to work who live close into town. There's plenty of parking around the hospital as well, and it's all free, unlike some of the cities. And there's storage for bikes, locked facility under the hospital. Just touching on the PGY1 runs up there, I won't read them out, but we have a variety of community-based attachments, as well as all your standard medical, surgery, orthopedics, psychiatry runs. And then in PGY2, there's an option of a 3-month ICU run, as well as 6-month runs in ED, PEDS and O&G. And often people will choose to do the diploma in those as well. There's also a medical assessment and planning unit, or MAPU, run in PGY2, which isn't on the list, sorry. We have recently increased our number of PGY1s from 13 to 17. So whilst it is quite competitive, there is a bit more opportunity to get a job here than there has been previously when it has been quite tight. They mentioned in the video that we do take, Otago and Auckland grads. I think there was an Auckland grad speaking. But I'm pleased to report that we have an even mix this year of Otago and Auckland. It hasn't always been that way with us having Auckland TIs here. There has been in the past more of them wanting to apply. But I've always, as these guys just reminded me before this, I've always pushed strongly for the Otago grads and encouraged them to apply, because I think it works really well in a small place when we have a mix. So don't think of it as a barrier if you are an Otago grad, but I think making sure you do make an effort to reach out to us so we know you before the ACE process happens. Touched on training, protected teaching time and pre-vocational supervisor meeting. They happen an hour during lunch times, and then we have grand rounds on Friday. In PGY2, there's opportunities for departmental teaching on the specialist runs such as PEDS, ED, O&G, and medicine, and there's some simulation teaching as well that happens, which the RMOs really enjoy and gain a lot from. This is just an example of one of the teaching programs, both the surgical on the left and medicine on the right, just to show a variety of what's happening, including some sessions and radiology teaching. We have 5 pre-vocational supervisors here, and they cover a range of specialties from ED, paediatrics, anaesthetics, medicine, and GP. So we think we provide quite a well-rounded group, and really helping support your transition from being a trainee intern to an RMO. And you've allocated one of us for the first 2 years, just to help guide you through all the new things about working as a junior doctor and providing pastoral care, making sure that you're getting the educational and supervision needs that you require. So you'll be allocated, if you do come and work here with us, you'll be allocated one of us. But we work as a group, so we sort of run the sessions weekly as a group. So the aim is that you'll feel comfortable talking to any of us, even though you do have one dedicated person. Really, this is just about the recruitment process. I think if you have any questions, touch base with MMU. I think it's important to have a good CV and important to have a cover letter. Like I said earlier, really just describing a bit about yourself and why you want to work here is important for us. We do get quite a few just sort of reasonably generic cover letters or very generic CVs where we don't feel like we can distinguish between people, and if we don't feel like you want to work here or have any specific reasons for wanting to work here and contributing to our community, then I think your chances aren't as great as someone who can demonstrate that. But reach out if you have any specific questions, and this is often some things we talk through when we do meet, either in person or online, if you are interested in coming here. And there's a whole bunch of things that we take into consideration. We have quite a big panel of people on the ACE selection process. And I think that the way we do it is very fair. It's a very fair process and involves quite a lot of people. But yeah, if you get your CV and your cover letter done and you've done reasonably well at medical school and have good references, then you stand a really good chance. I will welcome any questions at the end, but I'll hand over now to the RMOs who will be able to give you a bit more perspective.
Kia ora. Sort of covering similar things to what we talked about at the start, but I do say I love working here. It's such a great hospital. There's so much to do both in and outside the hospital. The mountain biking, the lakes, all of that's just right on your doorstep. It's so easy to get out after work, on the weekends. It's just a really great place. Lots of social events with the other RMOs as well, both with the PGY1s, PGY2s. I know I see quite a few of the mid-regs joining in, which is really nice because it helps with that work environment that we're all enjoy hanging out, and it creates a more approachable, flattened hierarchy at work. And we've got things like the night market, which I know the PGY1s we all go to on a Thursday, and we've all know each other really well, which has been great. We've got such a great sense of sort of collegial support there. And we've all become really good friends, which is nice. It's been a really social crew that we've got. Yeah, barely any traffic. I've not had any traffic on any of my commutes to work. It's really nice when you can wake up just a few minutes later. Helps you get through the day. And I've never had any trouble finding parking, which has been awesome. Park right up front and walk on in, start the day strong. These are some more photos of the crew out. As you can see, the mountain biking, the lakes. There's the luge there. Almost forgot about that. There's so much to do. I will admit I haven't got around to do everything yet. I'm already 3 months in, so there's so much, and it's been really awesome getting everyone out and about. So in the hospital, it's really nice. It's you've got these small, close-knit teams. Everyone knows your names. You talk with each other a lot, and you get really involved. Everyone's really friendly and keen to encourage learning on the wards, and lots of time to ask questions and get teaching, and lots more room for doing hands-on things. I've been able to do quite a few procedures on the wards with support, which is really nice. Everyone's keen to let you have a go and learn as much as you want. And the seniors, both the consultants and the registrars, always have time for you. Really, really happy to answer a question, really approachable. Yeah, really great. Especially coming into it as a PGY1, always free for questions, always make it really easy to give them a ring or flick them a text, things like that. And lots of teaching. Twice a week you've got your formal teaching, and then you've got some departmental teaching. I know medicine's got some house officer and registrar teaching they do. Lots of other departments also have once a week teaching, which is really nice to sit in on and sort of grow your knowledge base a bit, which is really nice.
Some of the logistics, I guess, about the job as a house officer coming in as a PGY1. I think there's a lot of benefits to working in Rotorua as a first year compared to maybe some of the other sites up and down the country. No night shifts for the first 6 months. So because we're a smaller hospital, when you are rostered to a night shift, you're the only house officer on overnight, covering medical, surgical, psychiatry, rehab, ICU, which can be a lot. However, you're fully supported throughout, and I think not having the nights for the first 6 months really gives you a chance to get used to after-hours shift in the form of long days and weekends, and sort of build up your skill set, build up your workflow to the point where when you hit that first night shift, although it might feel daunting, I think it's one of a good, I guess, method of doing those night shifts where you feel confident going into it, and you've got good supports for that first 6 months to sort of get you ready for that. 2 to 3 weekends per quarter, 1 long day a week, pretty stock standard up and down the country. Most of our runs here, especially as a PGY1, are category D. So that's the timescale, sort of 50 to 55 hours a week. And I think by and large, that's pretty well kept to. Long days, weekends. I think this is a good point. Rotorua Hospital in particular, where we have gotten rid of the double long day weekends. So instead of doing a long day on Saturday and Sunday, you either do Saturday or Sunday. And that is a large improvement to quality of life, and I think a large improvement to patient care provided. And whilst I know that there's efforts to get rid of that up and down the country, where we've successfully negotiated one long day per weekend. And I think that is testament to sort of the relationship we have with the employer, with our management team, to the point where we identified an issue, said actually this would be better for patients, it'd be better for staff, and we managed to work around that and push that through to the point where we're benefiting a bit more from it there. And then nights you're covering the whole hospital except for peds and O&G, as well as ED. Very well supported. Like I said, it's scary going on to them for the first time, but I think having that 6-month buffer period really helps build your confidence going into them.
So I have done orthopedics and I've just started my medical run this year. So I'll speak a bit to that. Orthopedics has been really good, lots of opportunity. The Regis have really encouraged me to get in amongst theatre, get in and out of some of the clinics. There's lots of chance to pursue those opportunities as far as you would like to, and arranging with your colleagues on the team to work that out. But lots of time if you want to go to theatre. And on medicine, I've finished my first week, I'm starting my second week, so it's been great so far. I've been able to do a couple of things like biopsies and stuff like that, but it's been pretty awesome.
So having gone through all of those runs there, I mean, medical, it is a lot of procedures that get done here, chest drains, acidic taps, midlines and things. Because we're a smaller hospital, there is more opportunity for juniors to step into a more procedure-based role or activity with a lot of senior supervision. So doing midlines, doing these sort of highly technical skills you may not get the opportunity elsewhere, but I think we offer, because we're a smaller hospital, there's the chance to upskill in a lot of ways if you're interested. Same goes for surgical and orthopedic specialties. Regis are always keen to have someone along in theatre. It may be that you're working directly with one of the consultants in theatre, depending on workflow and things, getting down to the clinics, getting down to minor ops or fracture clinic is always a chance there. No one's going to say no to you. I don't think anyone's declined someone wanting to come to theatre or get involved in a procedure, which I think, once again, testament to the sort of community we've got here. The GP runs, I did my GP run at Ranulph, which was fantastic. I've spoken to others in Taupo-Turangi, and in the past those have been highly enjoyed by people that have gone down there. And I think having the opportunity to do that community-based attachment as a PGY1, as a PGY2 is quite beneficial. Early days of deciding your specialties and things, so I think it's nice to have the chance to see them. Inpatient community psychiatry, the inpatient psychiatry, you really get amongst it, talking with patients, really supportive environment again. And we do have the community MISOP run, so going out and about to patients' homes, seeing them in their home environment is another way to establish that connection with the community that we've got here. And I think it's a great opportunity, regardless of which sort of run you end up on, you're going to be able to upskill a lot.
So I was an Otago grad. We do come here. It's half of us this year. It is a good idea to come and visit. I managed to come down while I was on placement. There's 50-50 split between the Otago and the Auckland grads this year, which is really awesome. And it's not a difficult transition. I found it really seamless coming here. The environment's really supportive. You come in and meeting everyone else and getting along is really easy. A couple of things to know, depending on where you're placed. I know Wellington is paper charting, but here we do paper charting, quite a few paper referrals, a lot more paper-based notes, things like that. There may be at other centres, but it's quite easy to get used to and doesn't really change too much. In terms of finding housing, lots of people that you can reach out to help, medical management unit. We were able to find a house and there are options available. I know my flat we're able to find the first place we looked, which is not too bad, but there are lots of places and there's lots of stuff coming up and there's a solid turnover that keeps coming up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder if that needs to be updated because I think most people find housing fairly easily now with the sort of large network of RMOs and other hospital staff, as well as MMU being there available to help with that process, I think it's a lot easier than it may be in some other places that don't have those networks of people and communication with each other.
I think they'll find out you're a doctor and you jumped to the top of all that. To be honest.
It did have that effect on the application. You can find some really nice places. That's another thing to know.
Oh, the ratings. Ratings food. Hospital food's pretty good. We're pretty determined to keep the hospital food, keep some things in the cafe the way they are. So when they go or not they, because we've got a lovely team behind there, but we've got lots of treats and things that maybe other hospitals don't have. And I think having like an ice cream on a Wednesday afternoon in the sun with your colleagues is a pretty big drawing point. It is still hospital food. It's not going to be 10 out of 10 perfect, but always hot. And there's options for people that maybe don't want a hot meal. We've got sushi, sandwiches, plenty of juice, and ice creams. And the team are the loveliest you'll meet.
Coffee's good. Coffee's needed in the morning. Depends a bit on who's on, but it's always pretty reasonable, I find.
Yeah, keeps you going. Yeah. That RMO lounge, I think we need to update. There's been quite a lot of contributions from members of staff around the hospital that have donated couches. We've got a TV, Chromecast. There's a ping pong table that doesn't get used. Set up with a bed in there as well. There's a couple of computers. We've got fridge, microwave, toaster, sandwich press. Lots of things to sort of keep you comfortable when you're on your long days or your night shifts, or if you're just trying to kill a bit of time between certain jobs. It's not in the best location, but it's a reasonably small hospital. So most people, I think, end up going there at least once after hours if they've got a moment to sort of unwind or gather their thoughts.
Yeah, I find it's a great place. We all sort of meet up before the medical handover, chat with the regs, catch up with your friends before starting the day. It's a nice social environment.
Car park, no comments. It's one of the best in the country. I don't know anyone that struggles to find parking. It's completely free, and it's a stone's throw from the main entrance of the hospital. There's also separate after hours parking for your night shifts or for your long days that you can utilize parking a little bit closer to the ED rather than in the main car park. And in terms of, I think, something that's been circulating a little bit in the past couple of years is safety with parking. Obviously, you're going to be working long hours, you're going to be finishing at odd times, but our attendants and our staff at sort of the main entrance and in ED, if there's any ever concern about safely getting back to a car, they're more than happy to accompany you to take you to the car. So I think that's a big plus again. PGY2, yeah, I think it's a really cool place to be doing PGY2. 6-month runs, tons of opportunities there. Emergency department, pediatrics, O&G, all 6-month runs, which means you can really get stuck into these specialties, get a feel for how you might fit in with them, and also get just an absolute ton of learning. ED is often cited by people who have done it as one of the most hands-on jobs where they're just able to upskill quite a bit. And I think the ED consultants are probably the happiest and most approachable consultants in the hospital. So, you're not going to be in the situation of being unsupported. You're going to be well supported throughout. You're going to see plenty come in and you're going to be able to do a lot. Same for pediatrics and O&G. Having that 6 months really gives you a chance to learn these specialties that are maybe a bit different from your standard Gen Med Gen Surg and upskill in those areas, do a postgrad diploma at the same time if that's what you're looking to go into in the future. MAPU House Officer role, that's what I'm currently on. I think this is a fairly unique job and quite a highly sought after job. Basically, you're working only in the acute planning unit, so your APU or AMU in some hospitals. You are admitting patients, taking referrals from ED, taking referrals from GPs, other hospitals, and just focusing on that initial medical admission, which is a really key skill regardless of whatever specialty you work in. And I think having that opportunity as a house officer whilst you're still well supported works as a good foundation if you're thinking about stepping up as a med reg. But even if you're surgically minded, I think it's a great chance to get used to your foundational medicine and your ground up approach for seeing patients. ICU run, once again, very sought after. It is a teaching run, so you will be not superfluous, but you are working with the ICU consultants directly, learning under them, learning under the registrars, a lot of procedural stuff. This is your chance to upskill on your art lines, on your mid lines. We've had, PGY2s that are sort of not experts, but they're whacking a midline for
Needing to do central lines and intubations. And
Yeah.
things. Like there's no other RMO, so it's just the ICU bosses and the house
and the
officer.
house officer.
So you get a lot of opportunity.
Yeah. And these are sort of globally transferable skills as well. So I think definitely a good thing if you're interested in ICU anesthetics or even any of the other specialties, but want to see, I guess, what it's like working in ICU earlier on in your career. This is definitely a good run to keep in mind.
I'll just add in about Topol. So it was there sort of in our presentations, but I think we should just explicitly mention it. So that's the other hospital that's part of Lakes. It's an hour away. It's a rural hospital. It's a rural hospital training site. And they have rural hospital specialists as well as ED doctors. They have rural trainees, registrars, and they have house officers down there. So we've just created a new run that's a hybrid run where it is a community-based attachment, but it's split between working in the rural hospital and working in a GP practice in Topol. So it's quite a good opportunity to really get immersed into rural practice, see what it's like working in the hospital with limited resources, but still being really well supported by a team of rural specialists, and then actually being out in the GP practice as well. And as part of that, you're actually going further out down to Turangi and to some of the peripheral areas and doing mahi-based clinics as well with the rural hospital specialists. So it's a new but exciting opportunity that we're looking forward to offering. And the first people have just finished it now, but we're just rolling it out this year. But we're getting good feedback so far. It's an hour away, but juniors are provided with accommodation while they're working down there.
I'm a TI with University of Otago. If we want to come and visit the hospital to see the environment, is that possible, and who should we contact? So I know within the presentation slide, you had the MMU email address available, and also just to add to that, on the ACE RMO website, under the employer information section, there is a list of contact details for the district as well. So you can always refer back to that. If there was anything else you wanted to add. Okay.
Yeah, I think as we say, we really like contact. Whether if people want to come and see see or feel the vibe here themselves, I think visiting is a really good idea. And we have already had quite a few TIs coming to visit, and we've got a few more planned. So I'd really encourage people to visit if they want to get the vibe. But if they just want to make contact and have a chat to us, we realise there's cost of living crisis. It's hard to get here, especially people down south or further away. Making contact and doing an online chat is is just as good for us anyway. You might not quite get the feel of the place, but I think watching this webinar, having a chat to us, asking any questions, and also asking around, getting more info from these guys who work here.
What supports are available to you in preparing for and during your night shifts?
Yeah, so I think that 6-month period is really, really helpful, and I think it's maybe a bit underestimated. Not all hospitals have protection from night shifts for that duration. Throughout those 6 months, you're going to be doing 2 quarters, so you are going to be doing 1 and 4 weekends, a long day a week. So you're just going to stack up a lot of after hours time. That after hours time translates to getting comfortable with reviewing patients on your own, getting comfortable with talking to your registrar, speaking to bosses, and sort of being comfortable and safely attending to what's going on in the hospital, and feeling supported with the registrars and the bosses. And I think that's the process that you learn in that 6 months. If there's concerns about starting those night shifts, I haven't met anyone that was overly anxious about starting into nights after 6 months of working the job, essentially. I think by the time you get to that point, it feels a little bit scarier, but not to the point of feeling overwhelmed. And I'm confident that if you were coming into that night shift feeling like you weren't prepared, we've got lovely pre-vocational supervisors, we've got a lovely RMO unit who are happy to accommodate, talk through things, and then also provide sort of physical or objective supports in the way of other, either a shadowing shift or re-rostering if possible, just to allow whatever issues need to be addressed prior to those nights. But I think that time period really gives you a chance to settle into after hours work. And night shifts are a bit different, but it's after hours work and you'll feel pretty comfortable with that within, let's say, 3 months or so.
We generally also run a session or two in our pre-vocational meetings about night shifts specifically, sort of, I guess, some tips on just how to deal with it in your life in terms of trying to get sleep, eating, how to, lots of us as the consultants have worked a lot of night shifts in our time. So we have a few tips on how to manage them. And also in those meetings, it's quite useful because obviously there's only one house officer on nights at any time. So as they're coming through and finishing their set and they're in the meeting, we often have a bit of a group debrief and sort of how did it go, what were the issues that cropped up, and use it as group learning. And it is a small enough group and everyone knows each other well enough, and they sort of have those relationships where you can facilitate a discussion like that and actually, learn from how each other was feeling and gain strength from that.
I think we have usually a teaching session around that 4 or 5 month point where PGY2 comes and gives some tips and tricks, which thinking back, I had very nice Dr. Georgia Williams, end of the year, came and gave us some tricks and kind of settled our nerves down a lot with some really practical, helpful advice about how to get through your night shifts.
You also have I don't think we explicitly said, but there is a medical registrar on site on night shift as well as the ED team. So you're certainly not alone. Whilst you're the only house officer on, you are definitely supported, and generally you work quite closely with that medical registrar, because even if you're seeing sort of surgical or ortho patients, often they're like deteriorating maybe with a medical problem. So they're there on site and supporting you.
If someone is wanting to get into surgery training program, how supportive of the teams? Are there any research opportunities available?
Yeah, so the research side of things, if you are keen on doing projects, whether it's quality improvement or research in a specific focus, I know that they've done we've just had MedReg come back from Australia. They're at conference presenting things with research done with the oncologists here. All of the specialties, I think there's always a consultant or a few that are quite keen on research, quite keen to get you involved as a house officer, and will really encourage you to do so. I can't speak to the surgical training too much as a house officer. I know that the surgical department here is always trying to, grab people, get them involved, get them to be surgical registrars. And I think having the experience, having that exposure to something like general surgery as early as possible is the thing that gets your head in the right space, and also gives you the networks to start to talk to people, start to get involved on different projects, different conferences that will lead nicely into you as you start to sort of get into that training application program.
We try and support PGY2s who want to do the surgical exam, so the GESCC. This year I think we have 3, maybe 4. 3 out of 17 doing it. So yeah, we definitely support that, and we've had people doing it every year. There's also one of the relief runs is a relief/QI project. So that person, if you're interested in research, that's a good run to put your name forward for in the PGY2 year. And you have 1 day a week dedicated to a QI project, which some people in the past, when they have been surgically inclined and wanting to get those points up, have used that to do a audit or some research based in the surgical department. That's then they've been able to, present at a surgical conference or at the trauma day symposium and things like that. to earn points to then look at, applying for the surgical training program.
Is Taipo Community run only in PGY1?
No, it's either PGY1 or 2. So the community runs are allocated over PGY1 and 2. We won't put PGY1s down there in their first quarter because they have orientation up here, and we kind of continue the orientation for those in those sort of teaching sessions, lunchtime teaching sessions through the first sort of 6-7 weeks of the quarter. So we generally prefer people to be in Rotorua because it's easier for them to, get oriented properly. So it'll be usually a PGY2 in the first quarter, but yeah, it's a mix. But there is now, with this new hybrid run, there's two RMOs down there, 2 interns down there, where there used to just be one. So I think that will improve their experience because they'll be down there with a buddy. They'll be able to, share the accommodation, and it'll be a bit more collegial between them.
And the next question is asking if there is any relocation support being offered, or what relocation support is offered.
The SECA has depending on what union you're with, will depend on what relocation allowances we have.
So I would have a look. If you guys haven't joined a union or thought about a union, probably think about doing that. We've got Stones and RDA that have different collective agreements, both of which cover relocation costs. Discussing with the RMO unit of the relevant hospital to get things reimbursed, to have those supports there. I would have a look through, think about your unions. It's more to do with the contracts that you're signing, that your unions have with Whatu Ora with regards to relocation.
Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our session. Thank you again for your time. I guess I just wanted to end on a note in regards to any sort of further questions you may have. If it's anything to do with the ACE process, do you please get in touch with me at any time via phone or email. All my details are also available on the ACE RMO website. And just a reminder, if you have any further questions that's district specific, or if you're wanting to arrange that online Teams or Zoom chat or a phone call or a visit, to please get in touch with the RMO unit directly. But again, a huge thank you for your time and for our attendees for joining tonight.
Thank you, Sam. Thanks for hosting, and thanks to everyone for joining. I hope it's been informative and you've got out of it what you wanted. And yeah, like Sam says, just get in touch with us if you have any further questions. We look forward to meeting some of you in person or online, and next year when you come and join us. Thank you, and thanks to these guys for joining and sharing their experience as well. Unuhia, ki te uru akuna. Te wātia, te mama, nāko, wairoa i te ara takata. Koe rā, e rongo, whakairea ake pirunga, e tina, omia, uie, aiki.
I hope everyone has a really great evening. Thanks. Bye.